Over 100 women use it every year, but some students don't even know it exists. The Fredericton Sexual Assault Crisis Center recently teamed up with St. Thomas University to fix that problem. Jillian Watts takes a look at the center and its efforts to help women.
Students at St. Thomas University are making their mark in the fight against sexual assault. The Fredericton Sexual Assault Crisis Center partnered with the university to create Stand Up, Let's Talk About It, a week of awareness and education about sexual assault. Students kicked off the week by placing their feet in paint and stomping on a poster as a way of standing up against sexual assault. Lindsay Kavanaugh, a St. Thomas student and volunteer at the Crisis Center, organized the event to raise awareness for the center and to educate students about sexual assault. She says very few students are aware of the work the center does, and she hopes a week of awareness will bring more volunteers and supporters through its doors. Kavanaugh organized a games night to bring women together to talk about sexual assault and clear up some of the myths, risks, and facts surrounding it.
Most rapes are not committed by strangers. Did you want an X or no? An X. Where would you like to put it?
Bill Patrick, the co-founder of Fredericton's Gender Justice Cooperative, brought a male voice to the discussion on sexual assault and helped clear up some common stereotypes and myths surrounding men and sexual assault.
Back up, slow things down, or say, whoa, that was too far, or I don't feel like it.
The Fredericton Sexual Assault Crisis Center doesn't just work to raise awareness for sexual assault. In fact, the very heart of the center is its 24-hour crisis hotline, which is run on a completely volunteer basis. For volunteers like Lindsay Kavanaugh, the center isn't just about fun and games.
My first call was really difficult. I got called to the hospital, and I had to meet a survivor, and that rarely happens.
Jen Gorham, program coordinator for the Sexual Assault Crisis Center, knows all about the difficulties volunteers face in dealing with such an emotionally charged subject.
I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a person who, at some point in the training, isn't really emotionally affected. For myself, I have small children, so even teaching or facilitating the child sexual abuse component, I find such a challenge. It's a hard day for me. I usually go home and I'm exhausted. Where we keep all our supplies.
Volunteers can take calls from the 24-hour crisis line from their home.
This is our counseling room. So this is where we offer counseling. We don't have any counselors in today. I don't know what it looks like up here. I've been up in a couple days and it's a disaster.
The center acts as a meeting place for the volunteers and is also a safe place for women to receive counseling and information.
We have our collective meetings up here. We run our training. We also have our Christmas parties up here.
While the job can be emotionally trying, the volunteers stick together and support each other along the way.
You get a small group of women together. You can't help but bond with that group of women. So we spend 2 months together, and at the end of that 2 months, you have a fairly tight-knit group of people. Because certain aspects of it are very, I don't want to say traumatizing, it's not that, it's, heavy, very heavy topics. So you have to balance that heaviness with some light and some fun and some laughter.
Light, fun, and laughter was the theme behind most of the Stand Up Week's events. But Kavanaugh wanted to make sure the severity of sexual assault wasn't lost in the games.
I think it's great that women acknowledge that they need someone, and I think that's great, and they have the strength to call us. That takes a lot. And, even to talk to someone about it, admit to yourself that something happened, can be really just incredibly hard, and a lot of women do, and it's very empowering to listen to these women talk about their stories.
Over 100 women use the crisis hotline each year for help, guidance, or even just someone to talk to about their assault. Without the hard work of the volunteers who run the crisis hotline, it's difficult to tell where these women would turn. For Stu Journalism, this is Jillian Watts in Fredericton.
Children who do not have TAs, that they don't think they meet the criteria, but they do have a diagnosis of autism.
Students with special needs, are they getting the help that they should have? I'm Corinne Frost, and next week I take a look at how parents and school board members feel about the issue.
To live gluten-free, a person must eliminate wheat, rye, barley, malt, and in many cases oats from their diet. People with celiac disease must maintain this diet for life or face many health complications. Unfortunately, the price of these products is consistently higher than their mainstream counterparts. While many of the products are mass-produced, there are smaller companies making gluten-free locally. Rosie Schuyler owns Rosie's Gluten-Free in Shepparton, New Brunswick. Rosie does not have celiac disease, but she responded to a plea for help.
I wish I could eat your food.
21.43.
That was the total price for 3 items: 4 English muffins, a package of breadcrumbs, and 6 blueberry banana muffins. Jerry Bigham of Kinnickinnick Foods in Alberta explained the cost in a telephone interview.
The furthest I have to move anything is probably, 100 miles. When I make a loaf of gluten-free bread, I'm bringing container loads of product in from Thailand. I'm bringing in rice flour from the United States. I'm bringing in pulses from all across Western Canada. I'm bringing in special ingredients from the Midwest and the U.S. I'm bringing in special ingredients from Belgium, France, and Germany, so that your loaf of bread comes from a minimum of 4 continents. We supply, say, 40 warehouses all over North America with gluten-free food, and that is the way that you get variety, is to be able to have a large plant like we have in Edmonton, and to distribute it widely across North America.
When Rosie arrived from Switzerland, she had a bakery and bistro serving only mainstream products. She gradually introduced gluten-free before changing over completely.
Just go 100% gluten-free or nothing else. So then you can sleep at night and you don't have to be worried that you make people sick.
While it's nice to have Rosie's homemade attention, the reality is gluten-free food is expensive.
Again, you're up over $6.
That seems to be the magic number for,
yes,
for
it does.
gluten-free food, $5 or $6.
I feel badly, especially for seniors on a restricted budget or income, trying to cope with buying bread and pastas and whatnot.
While the gluten-free diet is expensive, people with celiac disease can claim a portion of the cost of the gluten-free food as a medical expense on their tax return. However, there are limitations and a number of rules. For instance, only gluten-free products and products used to make gluten-free foods are associated with these costs, and only the incremental difference. So, for instance, this 6-pack of muffins at Rosie's Gluten-Free Bakery was $8.49. This substantially larger muffin for 6 of them at Sobeys was $3.49. So the $5 difference could be applied to this charge and carried forward for a total year-end claim as a medical expense. However, you have to have a letter from your doctor to Revenue Canada. You have to summarize each and every gluten-free item on this chart, and you have to have a receipt to back up your purchase claim. So for me to do this, I would have to enter the number of muffins purchased through the year, the average item of the cost of the non-gluten-free item, the cost of the gluten-free item, the difference, and a sum total. So for this person, their total medical expense at the end of the year was $655.23.
Fortunately, in spite of the cost, there are companies like Kinnickinnick and people like Rosie who provide gluten-free products for people who need them.
For us, it's actually just, we can help people. And when sometimes you meet people, and they can eat a piece of bread again, or they have a muffin, or they have even a hamburger, they can eat a hamburger again. Sometimes they even cry. And that goes so deep. So you do the right thing.
So $3.49 for this muffin or $8.49 for this muffin? Which will it be? Well, for somebody with celiac disease, unfortunately, this will be our option. For Stu Journalism, I'm Tammy Murray. Pretty good.